Well, let's see if we can find out from the Foreign Secretary, James Cleverly, who joins us this morning. Minister, very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us here on GB News. Look, in terms of this, what are we expecting to see? Because, I mean, there are two issues, aren't there? There's patrolling the beaches, trying to stop people from heading to the UK, but there's also the huge issue of where we send people back to if they're stopped on our beaches once they've got here.
Well, yes, it's worth remembering that this summit is about a wide range of issues. And we have ministers from a number of government departments, trade ministers, environment ministers, defence secretary is here as well. So this summit is about a wide range of issues. But of course, our collective work to prevent the really, really significant increase in illegal migration is going to be a part of that. The French have already played a very important part in preventing a significant number of attempted crossings. And of course, we will be negotiating with them about what more we can do together to prevent people crossing the channel. And through the illegal migration bill, we, of course, are looking to find ways of returning people back to their countries of origin or another safe country to demonstrate to both the people smugglers themselves and those people who have put themselves in the hands of people smugglers that it is not worth the money or the effort or the risk to try and illegally come to the UK.
I mean, as you say, there are going to be collective issues discussed today, but the migrant issue will be at the forefront. And the UK has paid France at least £232 million in payments for this issue since 2014, latest of which in November, 62 million pledged by Suella Braverman. There could be more pledged today. We've been subsidising the French, haven't we, for many, many years? And there will be viewers and listeners today sitting at home saying, why are we continuing to pay the French when I'm struggling to heat my home? When do you think we will actually see a return on our investment?
Well, the truth is we have already been seeing a return on our investment. The French authorities have stopped around half of the attempted crossings. But we are seeing unprecedented numbers of people who are migrating through continental Europe, often through France, attempting to get to the UK. It is in our collective interests to get a grip of this. The French authorities and the British authorities have been working together. We want to find ways of being able to do more together, to be more effective together. This is, as I say, in part what we will be discussing today at the Anglo-French Summit. But as I say, the money that we have been spending with the French authorities has made a difference. There have been many, many more people making the attempt. As I say, the French have stopped around half of the attempted crossings, and we're looking at finding ways of working with them to try and do more.
Is it reasonable, in your view, for Emmanuel Macron to be saying, you know, we will not agree on returning people to France if they're you know, caught in the UK and you know, the deportation can happen. We will not have them back in France. We are not in a position to make that agreement. You've got to talk to the EU as a body. Is that a reasonable position?
Well, migration issues, I mean, this is one of, I suppose, the byproducts of France's membership of the EU. So a lot of border control policy, a lot of migration policy is held at EU level. Of course, the individual EU member states have a role to play and they have something of a say, but much of this is done at EU level. And we will continue, of course, to work with the EU. In terms of the border enforcement, that is done by French officials. And therefore, of course, it is in our interest to work with France. And we know that France gets a higher number of illegal migrants than the UK. So this is not just a UK problem. This is a Europe-wide problem. And of course, you know, both France and the UK have a shared interest in resolving this issue. And this is why the negotiations have been held, I think, in a real positive spirit. And there's a real desire to coordinate. And we are really pushing both. The French and the British authorities are really pushing to see what we can do to seriously reduce the numbers of people making those illegal journeys, both through France and across the Channel to the UK.
There is a positive spirit about this summit today because it has been tense in recent months and years. I mean, even Liz Truss, she couldn't say whether Emmanuel Macron was a friend or foe. And now we have the papers and online commentators saying that Rishi Sunak and President Macron are going to be a bromance today. So do you think this could mark a new era in UK-French relations? Do you think things can actually be achieved here, or do you think this is just political theatre?
So I know that we are going to achieve a lot through this summit because we have already been achieving a lot together. I've been coordinating very, very closely with my French opposite number with regard to our collective response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, for example. We spoke extensively at a whole series of international meetings. So I know, I don't know if I'd go as far as to describe it as a bromance, but there is a very strong professional relationship between the UK and France. We don't agree on everything, but we agree on a lot, and on the really big things like Ukraine's self-defense, like the issues of illegal migration. We find ourselves in very, very close agreement very, very often. And this is about operationalizing. It's about turning that shared desire to resolve an issue into actual actions, actual policies, actual processes. And I think that's why I'm optimistic that we're going to get a really good result out of today's summit. I'm not going to predict exactly what agreements we'll be able to settle on, but I know that the French president, the prime minister, have a shared desire to address the issues that we're going to be discussing.
Secretary of State, as always, it's really good to see you. Thank you very much indeed. See you again soon, I hope.